Good evening and welcome to another edition of Tigers Roar right here on Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans. I'm Tommy Kreis and appreciate you being tuned in live on a Wednesday night from 8 until 10 p.m. We got 2 hours for you, a lot of stuff to go over tonight. I'm joined here in hour number one. We're going to play a little musical chairs with the co-host tonight. For hour number one, we have Ronnie Rance of Sports Shorts TV and Sports Shorts Radio fame. Ronnie, how you doing?
Doing well, TK. Glad to be here.
Is Sports Shorts, is that famous yet now or what?
Well, considering that our guest, Michael Cobble, yesterday didn't know our show had been on the air at all until he came on, we need to get the word out, so you can help us get the word out. Sports Shorts TV, Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9. That's right here on Pelican Broadcasting. And then also Sports Shorts Radio every Saturday morning from 10 to noon on 104.5 FM ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge.
We're going to have to get to that a few times here in hour number one. And to Michael Cobble, our dear friend, wake up, Michael. It's good. Glad to see you keeping up with your other sports guys here in town. But anyway, we got a lot for you tonight. As I said, we'll have Ronnie here in hour number one. We'll get the clips from Coach Miles' press conference yesterday out at LSU, and Ronnie and I, of course, will talk about that. We'll go back to late last week when Mo Claiborne and Michael Brockers declared for the NFL draft, and we'll let you see all the comments that occurred with that. In hour number two, we will hear from Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com. He'll have the very latest on recruiting, and Ronnie and I will talk about the Gunnar Kiel situation. We'll take our weekly run through the LSU athletic department with some basketball, men and women for you. Some track and field, some gymnastics, and a whole lot more. Hour number two, Carter Bryant. You've seen Carter on a lot of the special features we do here on Tigers Roar. He's going to join us in hour number two, a student at LSU and works here with the Pelican Sports TV crew. He's going to give us a student perspective on everything that happened about 9 nights ago now. Ronnie, I was talking to people around town today, and it's almost like there's still a hangover effect. Les Miles came out and talked yesterday. Didn't say a whole lot, mostly smoke and mirrors, and he answered a few questions, but it was like he'd rather have been at the doctor's office getting a root canal done at the dentist office. But he did it. I think he kind of felt like he had to do it. But I think all of South Louisiana, even the Lafayette, New Orleans people that are tuned in tonight, there's like a hangover or a punch drunk or just feeling like, okay, did that really happen? And, of course, everything got magnified a little bit with the Saints out on the West Coast Saturday with, back and forth in the fourth quarter. They lose. Obviously, they put up forth a better effort than LSU did, but 6-day window. LSU's very, very successful season comes to an end. Saints, very, very successful season, setting records, comes to an end. And I think this whole week, everybody's just kind of like going through the motions, trying to get back into work groove, and had the holiday for Martin Luther King Jr. on Monday. Schools were out. I mean, it's been like a weird feeling throughout Baton Rouge and South Louisiana.
No, I agree. Folks were genuinely hurting, which they would have done anyway had they lost the national championship game. But I think the fans felt demoralized at how LSU got beat. I mean, there was no debate on should LSU be number one in the AP poll or any of that. This was a resounding butt-whooping that Alabama inflicted on LSU, and I think it just caught everybody off guard. Everybody was surprised. Everybody was kind of hurt. There was a lot of time, money, effort, 40 days of build-up for this game, and it was the big thud in the dome, as you're calling it. I don't know if you made T-shirts of that on it or not. But, I think there was just such a big disappointment. And then, there was that chance 5 days later for the Saints to kind of get everybody's mind off of it. And then they had the most unbelievable loss probably in that franchise history as far as how it went down. So I think the disappointment just has extended, an extra week.
Yeah, it's given everybody, like I said, everybody's just kind of going through the motions this week. I've talked to some business owners and people calling the radio show. It's just a different feeling, and it's hard to look back.
There's a funk.
It's a funk. It's hard. I was asked this question. I was doing a radio interview in New Orleans with Eric Asher today, and I was asked a question, when are people going to remember the 13 wins and winning the SEC West and winning the conference? Now, Les Miles made numerous references to that in his press conference yesterday. And again, we're going to get you those clips at least a couple of times in tonight's program. But, sooner or later, they're going to hang the stuff in the indoor facility, and I'm sure at a basketball game they're going to get introduced, or maybe a baseball game, or perhaps sometime in the summer it'll surface that 13-game stretch was was quite remarkable, and they did win the toughest conference in America.
Yeah, and actually 14 games in a row. You go back to the Cotton Bowl domination the year before against A&M. Yeah, it's going to take some time before you're able to look back on this season and reflect and say, hey, that was pretty awesome stuff. Greatest stretch in LSU football history, and they were the resounding #1 team. I've never seen a team go from the White House to the outhouse so quickly. And that's just what happened with this football team. They've gone from the White House to outhouse, and then everything around the program has crumbled as well in that, you lose a couple players to the pros. You were going to probably lose them anyway. But I think Brockers maybe was a surprise. I don't think people necessarily expected that. There wasn't a lot of talk about him leaving. And then, the Shepherd, he leaves and he comes back. You lose the #1 recruit in the state of Louisiana. You lose the #1 recruit in the nation. And so right now, there's an oogie feeling around this LSU football program.
On the recruiting, and again, Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com will give us an update on recruiting shortly into hour number 2 of tonight's program. But, yeah, Landon Collins, I talked to some people from Dutchtown last night. There is some thought that he's starting to waffle his decision a little bit. Certainly, he's saying Alabama and it appears to be committed to it. But LSU, I've been told, is still recruiting him very, very hard. Nothing's official until February 1, 2 weeks from today, when the paperwork is done. You get some looks at Landon Collins on tape here from this past prep football season. Again, he made All-State both offensively and defensively this season. He was just a man with boys in many of the games that he played. Right there against Zachary, he just, a man with boys running. It looked like the old New York Life commercial. They're diving around missing him, But anyway, they're still recruiting him. And it remains to be seen. What a thing. We showed it last week when you were here with the mom at the press conference. It was a little bizarre.
No, it was a lot bizarre. And the thing about Landon Collins is I guarantee you, and I'm sure Alabama prepared him and said, look, if you pick us, you're going to get a lot of feedback and but I guarantee you Landon Collins, it's been a shock to his system in the last 2 weeks, the reaction that he and his family has gotten from the community, the LSU fans, the friends and classmates and people that his family works with that maybe necessarily weren't purple and gold people, but not a disappointment. I think that's probably what he's feeling all around him. I think people are looking at him differently. I think people are reacting to him differently. He's probably not the superstar this week that he was 3 weeks ago in the eyes of his classmates, his teammates, and other people in the community. And I think that's been a shock to his system, and it's given LSU an opportunity to get back in there and go, hey, you can be the hero of all time. You can be. Remember when Ryan Perrilloux, when he was going to go to Texas and then he switched to Oklahoma State after Les Miles got the job. He went from being the pariah of the community to being the hero of the state, and that's exactly what Landon Collins would be if he rights the ship and picks LSU.
Well, and it remains to be seen, and nothing will be official till Wednesday, February 1st, when he sends his paperwork either to Alabama or LSU. And, I've had people say he's not going to change his mind. I've heard that he is, and I was talking to somebody last night at a prep basketball game. In fact, Dutchtown played East Ascension in prep basketball last night, and I was there. And their case was, and they no allegiance to LSU, Alabama, or nothing, but their analyzation was, hey, you're a defensive back. Why wouldn't you want to go play for Saban, who's a defensive back coach?
Sure.
And a lot of his linebackers and defensive backs end up in the NFL and playing right away when they get to the NFL. So from that angle, I would think you can understand that.
Oh, absolutely. No, I mean, he can't go wrong with either decision. But at the end of the day, Eric Reed's going to play in the NFL. Eric Reed went to Dutchtown. Eric Reed had played for Les Miles. Mo Claiborne's going to be a top 5 pick in the draft. He was recruited and played for Les Miles.
Patrick Peterson.
Patrick Peterson, Rookie of the Year. Tyrann Mathieu going to be a high draft pick and play in the NFL. So you can't go wrong either pick. But your family, your friends, your life, probably the rest of your life in football beyond your playing days is going to be in the state of Louisiana and going to be in New Orleans or Dutchtown or wherever he ends up. He was quick to point out he's from New Orleans. He really made that point. So regardless, he's from the state of Louisiana. You can have a nice life. If you're Chad Jones and you blow out your knee, you can still be a hero in the state of Louisiana and get a job. But if you go off to Alabama, don't let the door hit you in the back when things don't work out.
My good buddy Tommy Wilcox was an All-State quarterback at Bonneville, and prep league and, youth sports all over Jefferson Parish. Went to Alabama, played for Bear Bryant. He was an All-American as a safety. Still lives in Alabama. Still, that's how it goes sometimes. Now, one other thing, Landon Collins, bringing from New Orleans, he's got a little brother named Gerald Willis who will be a junior on Edna Carr's football team next year, 4A football team. He's one of the top players in the state as a junior next year. He's much bigger than Landon Collins as a defensive lineman, so you want to keep your eyes on that at Edna Carr down there in the New Orleans area. One other recruiting note, you made mention of it, Gunnar Kiel. This kid's demonstrated an ability to not be able to make decisions. He committed to Indiana because his brother was on the team. His brother has since left, and you get some tape here of Gunnar Kiel, the tall quarterback. You'll pick him out real soon here in the orange, playing for East High School in Columbus, Indiana. But he said he was going to go to Indiana, then no, and then it was going to be LSU, Notre Dame, or Vanderbilt, and he said LSU. He enrolled at Notre Dame this week, yesterday, so all indications now he'll play at Notre Dame. And I guess that'll be we never know. Can't play the what-if game. I mean, if 2 years from now, 3 years from now, he's starting at Notre Dame and tearing it all up and, being unbelievable records and winning games, then it'll feel like LSU missed out. If he does what most Notre Dame quarterbacks have done in the last 10 years, fizzle out, then, oh well, it's just one of them. Some you get, some you don't. But it was, and I don't think it had anything to do with the LSU-Alabama game. Now, had he switched to Alabama, it might have had something to do with it. But I think it was a homesick thing, home state of Indiana. His mother had a lot of influence. And like Coach Miles said, if he doesn't want to be in Louisiana, then no, don't come.
Yeah, I mean, this one makes you sick a little bit, though, because you would have been set for the next 4 or 5 years at quarterback between Mettenberger for 2 and then probably Kiel for 2. You really would have just really loved the quarterback position for the next 4 or 5 years at LSU. And, and if you get them, that always leads to getting more people in a couple of years. Now, if you're LSU, you went with the Lee. You lost Lee last year with baseball, and then you lose Kiel this year. You got the whole Perilou story back in the day when he switched from Texas to LSU, which forced you to lose McCoy, who was an LSU commitment. He winds up going to Texas and being one of the all-time great quarterbacks at the University of Texas and starting in the NFL. So it's kind of been a bad run for LSU football. And you take out even like Jamarcus Russell, he really had, a year and a half of good football for you. Matt Flynn gave you 1 good year. Matt Mock really gave you 1 good year. But the rest of the decade, and then Rohan Davey 1 good year. But you had big chunks of bad quarterback play with Marcus Randall. You had, Jamarcus early in his career. And then, of course, the Jared Lee, Jordan Jefferson era,
Andrew
the last
Hatch.
2, 3. I mean, it's just been a bad run. I mean, half of the decade really has been bad quarterback play or below LSU standard quarterback play. So it would have been nice to kind of just, take a deep breath and realize we've got it covered for the next 4 or 5 years. Now, not so much.
The number one sports topic in Baton Rouge for the last 50 or 60 years is the LSU quarterback position. Not going to change even with Jefferson and Lee being gone. It's not going to change.
And what about the weird thing? It always ends in 2s, right? Bert Jones had to split time. When Alan Risher was here, they had a bunch of good quarterbacks. Then you had when you had Hodgson, you had Guidry. Then you had
Loop and Daigle.
Then you had Booty and Rohan. You couldn't space
Craig
them
Nall.
out. I mean, it's like they always come in bunches, but you can't space them out just right.
Anyway, you're watching Tigers Roar. Please spread the roar. It's every Wednesday night live from 8 to 10 p.m. Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans, on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com. And if you're catching us on a Thursday, Friday, or Saturday, you got a rebroadcast going. We appreciate you taking time to watch it. In particular, on Fridays from 5 to 7 p.m., WHNO TV Channel 20 in New Orleans airs the program, and that airs on the North Shore, Covington, Mandeville, Hammond, Ponchatoula, Slidell, Bayou Country, Thibodaux, Homer, Lafourche, and Terrebonne Parish, as well as Mississippi Gulf Coast on Fridays from 5 to 7 if you get WHNO TV 20 out of New Orleans. And Ronnie, tell Michael Cauble and the rest of South Louisiana a little bit about Sports Shorts TV and Sports Shorts Radio.
Now, Sports Shorts TV comes on Mondays at 8 and Tuesdays at 9 right here on Pelican Broadcasting. It's a 1-hour sports talk show, a little different than what you used to. The first half hour, myself and Chad Bluen, it's a real fast-paced, hard-hitting, 10, 12, 13 different topics we run through in the first half hour. And then the second half hour, we always have a special guest. Last week we had sports director Michael Cobble of WBRZ in Baton Rouge. You know, we've had Dale Brown on. We've had Skip Burtman, Paul Maneri, you know, Ricky Blanton. Trent Johnson's given us a verbal commitment.
Alan Risher.
So we've had Alan. We've had a little bit of everything. And, of course, as we get into basketball season, we'll have some hoopers. We're also, with LSU baseball right around the corner, we'll roll out a parade of former LSU baseball stars and major leaguers that'll be on Sports Shorts TV.
And Sports Shorts Radio?
Sports Shorts Radio, Saturday from 10 to noon. That's on ESPN Radio, 104.5 FM in Baton Rouge. So Saturday mornings, we're the only game in town. You want a good sports talk, 10 to noon is where it's at on 104.5 FM.
And don't forget about Pelican Sports Radio, Monday through Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. on KKAY 1590 AM, our new home, KKAY 1590 AM. You can also get the free app on your smartphone, TuneIn Radio. It also streams online at KKAY1590.com or Global Radio KKAY.com. Again, Monday through Friday from 3 until 4 p.m. Pelican Sports Radio, lots of guests during the week, your phone calls, your emails, all that good stuff for you on KKAY 1590 AM.
Good-looking KKAY studios right there, getting the show going and looking forward to listening. I got the TuneIn app, by the way. I listen on TuneIn Radio.
TuneIn app. Lots of folks are doing that. No doubt. A lot of people on the internet as well. When we come back, we're going to let you hear straight from Les Miles. Our Pelican Sports TV crew was out on the campus yesterday when he had his press meeting with the press right before a football team meeting. We'll have that for you and a whole lot more. With Ronnie Rance, I'm Tommy Chrysan. Tigers Roar on Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans, and on the internet at PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hi, I'm Joe Horn, and you're watching Pelican Sports TV.
Hi, I'm attorney Kerry Bryson. My law firm focuses specifically on helping people try to solve their IRS tax problems. Lately, so many new out-of-state companies are popping up claiming that if you send them money, they can resolve your IRS problems. Well, what happens if they don't? Do you hire an attorney? Maybe you should start with a local attorney that's already handled hundreds of IRS cases right here in Louisiana. When you hire the Bryson Law Firm, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some out-of-town high-pressure salesman. You'll meet with us in person at our office right here in Baton Rouge. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and we'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it'll cost. So if you're hiring a company to resolve your IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, check their reputation first, then call me, Kerry Bryson, or go to BrysonLawFirm.com. If you're a Louisiana resident and you have an IRS problem, hire a Louisiana attorney, Kerry Bryson.
Hello, my name is Debbie. Welcome to Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair.
Come see the many great lines we carry in bridal, bridesmaids, mothers, flower girls, tuxes, and more. We also carry over 25 top designer lines in debutante gowns, Mardi Gras, pageant, and prom. Come meet me and my staff with over 30 years of bridal and pageant experience. Debbie's Bridal, a formal affair, Burnside and Gonzales, where service matters.
The family dental practice of Dr. Farrell Fruget Jr. and our highly trained staff are dedicated to providing care and treatment to our patients of all ages in all aspects of dental care. 23 years of experience and advanced training in cosmetic and restorative dentistry, TMJ, and treatment of snoring and sleep apnea allows Dr. Fruget to assist you in achieving the best in dental health. Call us today at 292-9700 to schedule your initial evaluation, because we know how to make you smile.
Joe Johnson is back in town and ready to give you a great deal on a used car. They're now open at the North American Automotive Group, Airline Highway in Gonzales, just north of Snow's Seafood, the old Cars 3 lot. I stopped by there yesterday. They got plenty of vehicles for you to choose from. Joe Johnson, if you're in the car business, you've known about Joe Johnson. He'll make you a deal on a used car, now open at 13557 Airline Highway in Gonzales. Look for Joe at North American Automotive Group and tell him you saw it here on Tigers Roar, Pelican Sports TV. Also want to remind you, as we were heading out about Ronnie's radio and TV show and Pelican Sports Radio. Pelican's also on Facebook. The Facebook page is Pelican Broadcasting. Got a YouTube page which features a lot of stuff you see here on this program, a lot of the features with Carter Bryant. And then the Twitter account is at Pelican Sports. Twitter account been growing a pretty good bit lately. A lot of people jumping on the Twitter account, and we send out reminders about radio and TV and other things going on at Pelican Broadcasting. Well, Ronnie, everybody, wanted to hear from Les Miles. I'd said it on the radio. Other folks had said it. He needed to say something to somebody. A lot of people put up a lot of money, a lot of stuff to support this this football team and athletic program. Well, Les Miles did have a press conference Tuesday afternoon out on campus right before a team meeting as he began making plans for the 2012 season. Here now, our Pelican Sports TV crew is on hand. Here are those comments that we put together for you.
I have to tell you that, beyond the last game, there's been a lot of a heartache on our team. I think there's a quality group of men that tried awfully hard to win everything, fell short. I don't think there's any question that that's a pain that I can tell you that, I do think about the ability to change quarterbacks. That was a question that I had, brought to my staff. There was a point in time where we just scrambled into the 32-yard line against Alabama, and Jordan Jefferson had put us in that position. And the way the pass rush was going in that game, we just felt like we needed a mobile quarterback to make a play like that. And then understand that if you finish one drive, you just finish one drive and you score 7, it's a completely different game, really, right from the start to the finish. Minus the back end. So I can tell you that Jarrett Lee did come to mind. We do have confidence in Jarrett. We just felt like we needed that guy who might be able to get loose with his feet. And that being said, I have a difficult time bemoaning my team's effort, my coach's effort, and the want to win. I felt like they did everything that they could, that they were asked to do. I don't think we played perfectly. I don't think there's anybody would say that this is something that was representative of our best play. But I can tell you that our guys gave everything they had. Now, that being said, we hang 2 banners in this building. The fundamentals of this program is to win championships. This team is a championship team. We won the West. Now, in the West, you have at one point in time 1, 2, and 3. So you win the West, any way you cut it, you're in the top 4 in the country. And we win the conference, and the conference is the finest conference in college football, certainly arguably, but certainly in our view, that when we take 11 weeks as the number 1 team in the country, and really repel all comers. Played 8 nationally ranked teams, beat the national champions in the regular season, and really played in the last game where only 2 teams get to play. Later this spring, our team will take a day and hang the Western Division Championship banner in our indoor facility and the conference championship in our indoor facility. I have to be very honest to tell you that I cannot bemoan this team's success, and by any measure, this is a great year. And that being said, I can tell you that our team at 4 o'clock will be directed towards next year. We return a team, in my mind, that will have just as much talent, just as capable as any that we've had. And just as we did a year ago, there's some things that we're going to have to put together. There's some pieces that need to mature and come, but I don't think that there's any question that this team will be capable. We'll throw the football more. We will lose a characteristic of a quarterback that can move his feet and run by design, and we'll have a guy that will scramble, but certainly will throw the football by percentage greater. I can tell you that we're having a great recruiting class. I like the class as it's shaping up, even very currently. I think it's a an opportunity for us to again compete for a national championship with the style of class that we're capable of bringing in. We certainly have to finish strong, but again, that's something that this program has done. And again, we will have a team meeting and we'll start next semester. And I don't bemoan the want to have finished well in that last game, but we won 13 straight, and the opportunity for us, to approach that style of team and exceed is certainly before us.
We continue with Tigers Roar here on Pelican Sports TV. Ronnie doing a dance during the Les Miles. You didn't want to hear all that, did you? He didn't say a whole lot, as people
I was
just
listening, but I was also getting a piece of the king cake. I'm sorry.
The king cake,
very good.
Or the Papa. Did you have some Papa John's pizza?
You know, let me just say, I did have Papa John's with the chicken. Really good. They love that. They have great chicken. But the thing I'll say about the king cake, you know, when I was growing up, it was kind of a cinnamon roll with sugar on top, and it was okay, but I was more of a tasty donut king cake guy in New Orleans, you know, which was basically a glazed donut with cream with stuff on top. But now, the king cakes, it doesn't matter where you get them. They're filled with something. They're so good. I don't even know where we got that one from, but it's had the cream in the middle, the cream cheese. Oh, my goodness. It's unbelievable.
Movies, king cake. I mean, you rate it all, don't you?
You name it. Let me just say this, and they're not a sponsor, and I wish they would be, but Heavenly Donut across from Parkview Baptist on Sherwood, almost to Airline, best king cake in town.
Oh,
Fantastic.
I could argue with you on that.
Fantastic.
The best was at Jay's, but Jay's is no longer open over there on Harold's Ferry and O'Neill Lane, but they're not there anymore. When we come back, we will let you hear from Mo Claiborne and Michael Brockers about their intentions to head off to the NFL draft. With Ronnie Rance, I'm Tommy Krysan. We'll also comment on it. You're watching Tigers Roar here on Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, and New Orleans, and streaming on the internet. Be sure to remind folks about the internet feed, PelicanSportsTV.com.
Hello, I'm Trev Falk, head coach at Vermilion Catholic, and you're watching Pelican Sports TV.
One more time.
BetterBatonRougeJobs.com has been extremely beneficial for the TM Automotive Group. And what stands out to us, it's easy to use, not only for us, but it's easy for the applicants. And it's the quality of applicants that we get. It's timely. We post something in the morning. By that afternoon, we have double-digit applicants. And again, it's the quality of the applicants.
Employers, now is a great time to hire, recruit, and look for potential new employees.
BetterBatonRougeJobs.com. It's free for job seekers and great for business.
You're on the same flight.
We'll be on the same plane, regardless.
Yeah, what we should work. Anything together? Do we know
that? Got it.
Thanks, Dave.
The big, brilliant, thin Samsung Infuse 4G. Only from the network of possibilities, AT&T.
For the thirsty, for those who hang out in packs, for heroes, for sidekicks, for those who see the glass half empty, for those who see it half full, for those on the right, for those on the left, for those with nicknames, for those with curves, for people that cycle, for people that recycle, for BFFs, for frenemies, for those with style, for lovers, for families, for big families, for everyone.
40 years, 4 decades, nearly half a century. That's how long the citizens of Greater Baton Rouge have chosen Richards Honda. A simple, sincere, and honest process.
Louisiana's oldest and most experienced Honda dealership for over 40 years, Richards Honda.
We continue with Tigers Roar, and Ronnie, you know football season's over when we spend the commercial break. Everybody's hearing from our great sponsors, and we're talking about king cakes and types of sugar and where's the best king cake. Obviously, football season is over as far as playing games.
We might have a Pelican special, top 10 places in Baton Rouge to get a king cake.
That's a good thought. Mardi Gras coming up. We're going to work on that. So if you sell king cakes, email us, pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. We'll have a king cake eating contest here between now and Mardi Gras. Pelicanbroadcasting@gmail.com. If you make king cakes or your store, your business has them, let us know. We'll get back in touch with you.
If I think it's good, we'll pump it. We'll promote it.
Yeah, and if Ronnie Rance gives it the thumbs up, then we're going to go with it. No question about that. PelicanBroadcasting@gmail.com. Well, we said the football games are over. Obviously, 2 weeks from tonight, 2 weeks from today, February 1 is signing day. That's when classes become official. Paperwork is done, and then you go from there. Then in April, there'll be the NFL draft. 2 LSU football players, Ronnie, you kind of made reference to this. Everybody figured Mo Claiborne was going. He'll be among the first 5, 6, 7 picks in the draft, if not higher. Michael Brockers, that kind of came up late. I think his upside and potential is incredible, and I think he'll play on Sundays for a long time. But these 2 guys decided to go to the NFL, and we've talked all year how LSU has so much depth and so much talent. Well, that depth and talent will have to step forward in the 2012 schedule because these 2 guys are going to head to the NFL. Your thoughts?
Not surprised, as I mentioned, that Claiborne is leaving. That's a no-brainer. Anytime you're a lock of the week, top 10 pick in any draft, whether it be baseball, basketball or football, you got to go. The Brockers thing, that's going to be interesting to see what happens to him. I think, I was really disappointed because selfishly I wanted Brockers to come back because I thought he was going to be a beast next year, an All-American, a guy that would be a solid first-round draft pick. He said at the press conference he was leaving for family reasons and that he's been hearing anything from low first to high second. I think that's definitely the ceiling for him. But I would think he's solidly a second-round pick, probably somewhere there. And if he has an unbelievable workout situation, then he might be able to move up. Ruben Randall going pro. That right there is something that, you'd like to have seen him maybe convince him to stay because, hey, Ruben Randall, if you would have stayed, you're going to catch a lot more balls next year with Mettenberger. Les Miles has already said the offense is going to be different next year. They're going to throw the ball a lot more, and it would have been really nice to have Randall back along with Landry and along with Beckham.
Yeah, and Ruben Randall going on. And somebody obviously got to Russell Shepard and said, come on, Russell, you were joking when you said you were going to the NFL. He has decided to return to LSU.
And I think that's a big thing.
I think it's good for Russell Shepard. I mean, he has no stock in the NFL draft now. If he is able to improve and get better, and he could maybe raise that stock a little bit next fall, and contribute to the LSU football team, who again is going to be an outstanding team with high expectations again. At the end of last week out at LSU, there was a press conference with Mo Claiborne and Michael Brockers. Our Pelican Sports TV crew and staff were there. Here now are those comments from Claiborne and Brockers and their decision to enter the NFL draft.
First of all, I want to give thanks to God because without him, none of this would be possible. And just to Coach Miles and all the things he have done for me and him coming to my house, recruiting me and giving me this opportunity to be here and get a good education here at LSU and my teammates. I mean, those guys have been awesome this year. I mean, we've had a great year, and there's nothing to hang your head down of. The coaches have done a good job with us this year and helping us to achieve our goal. I mean, yeah, we fell a little short at the end, but I mean, that's football. I mean, you can't win them all, and like I said, it just wasn't in God's plan for us to accomplish our overall goal. But we have a great program here at LSU, and it's something I'm sad about leaving. But I mean, you only get this opportunity once in a lifetime. But I just want to thank Coach Miles because he's been a great man to me. I mean, on and off the field. I mean, I can't thank him enough in this program. They've done so much for me, and I just thank them for giving me the opportunity to come here and play football and also get an education here at LSU.
This opportunity wouldn't be possible without God first. And I just want to thank the coaching staff, everyone, the trainers, the equipment managers, just everybody that just helped me along, my journey at LSU, being productive. And, and I thank the fans, too. They were great fans this year. We came up short, as Mo said before. But, I mean, it's nothing to hang your head down. We 13 and, we're 13-0 in the regular season. Got an SEC championship. We beat the the national champions once, and I just feel like we just had an amazing season all the way around, and I just want to thank everyone, at LSU, and everybody that just helped me, and it's been an amazing season. You have to do what's best for the team. You have to also, trust, the coaches and what their techniques and what they're saying and what they're doing. If I just see right now, if I would have, got mad or got upset, from changing from defensive end to defensive tackle, where would I be? Right now. But it was a great decision. I bought into the program and the coaches and what they were telling me, and I'm here today.
It's interesting. I think there's different times for guys to leave our program. I think that the thing that both of these men have done is they've had real consistent growth as a person, as a student athlete, academically. Both men have been very humble in their approach to learning football and started at a level much less the level that they're at, and improved and became tremendously competitive and really have put themselves in a position to really enter the NFL draft early at an advantaged position. Mo is expected to be in the top 10 players, if not the top 5 players in the NFL draft, and the opportunity for him to improve his draft position really doesn't exist. And I think Michael Brockers has the potential to improve his draft position, but is making a decision, in my opinion, maybe a family decision that allows him to fulfill an obligation to his family.
You hear all over the board, you hear first, you hear, beginning of second. I don't know where it is, at this point, or, where it's locked in at. But, I feel like this was the best decision for me. And, but not before Monday. After the game, I thought about, how the game ended. And, I talked to my mom and, my circle and my grandmother and people like that are really close to me that I trust. And we just came, together and made this decision. And I feel like it's a pretty good decision for me.
Both men have done everything that we've asked them to do. Both men, have really represented this program, both on and off the field in a very exemplary way. We're going to miss them. They're quality men. I've been fortunate to call up a huddle with these guys in it, and I can tell you that their teammates will miss them as well.
This program is great, and they know what's best. They know what's best for you. And you have to feel like you know what's best for yourself also. And when they tell you that you have to change a position or something, you can't take it as, oh man, I can't play that position. You just have to run with it and do what's best for your team.
It's a real interesting thing to watch the development of our players. Both of these guys are great examples. Mo comes in and really cornerback or wide receiver, and certainly would have excelled at either. And really, as a returner and just all the things that he could do, again, developed weight strength development, academic development as a person. And, he stands in a pretty strong position to go to the NFL draft after just 3 years. And you look at Michael Brockers. Michael Brockers came in. We recruited him where some people were recruiting him at offensive tackle. Mm-hmm. We were recruiting him at defensive end, the guy that have to pare down. And he grew up, and he stayed on the defensive side, and again developed and worked, and both men exhibited the ability to buy into the program and to really improve their position, not only on this team but on a draft board based on doing those things that they were asked to do on behalf of the team and within the program. We're really proud of their who they are as people.
When we come back, Ronnie Rance and I'll mix it up about a few other things. We'll talk a little bit more about guys going to the draft and leaving early. Throw in some other topics for you here on Tigers Roar. Pelican Sports TV, Baton Rouge, Lafayette, New Orleans. Stay with us. We've got more to come.
key attributes that really puts Papa John's Pizza over the top is our meats. Nobody does what Papa John's does.
For just $11, get our new double-layered premium pepperoni pizza, loaded with a layer of our signature pepperoni, plus a layer of oversized deli-style pepperoni. Just $11 for a large. Plus, get double points all weekend long and earn free pizza fast with Papa Rewards, only at papajohns.com. Sign up now.
Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
There's a question running in my head.
Hi, I'm attorney Kerry Bryson. My law firm focuses specifically on helping people try to solve their IRS tax problems. Lately, so many new out-of-state companies are popping up claiming that if you send them money, they can resolve your IRS problems. Well, what happens if they don't? Do you hire an attorney? Maybe you should start with a local attorney that's already handled hundreds of IRS cases right here in Louisiana. When you hire the Bryson Law Firm, you won't be speaking long distance or sending money to some out-of-town high-pressure salesman. You'll meet with us in person at our office right here in Baton Rouge. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and we'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it'll cost. So if you're hiring a company to resolve your IRS wage levies, bank levies, or tax liens, check their reputation first, then call me, Kerry Bryson, or go to brysonlawfirm.com. If you're a Louisiana resident and you have an IRS problem, hire a Louisiana attorney, Kerry Bryson.
If you're ready for some rock and roll, Lillian Axe will have an album release party, a free live show at the Howlin' Wolf, uptown in New Orleans, warehouse district, I should say, not uptown. The Howlin' Wolf. LillianAxe.com for more information. Doors are open at 9 o'clock that night at the Howlin' Wolf. It's an album release party. Lillian Axe is rock and roll, as good as it gets. It's free, so put that on the calendar. Saturday, February 4th. You got to get the date on that. Saturday, February 4th in New Orleans, the Howlin' Wolf. Lillian Axe, a little rock and roll action.
February 4th, the day before the Super Bowl.
That's correct. You got a little rock and roll leading up to the Super Bowl. Are you singing at halftime of the Super Bowl this year?
I am not. They
went with Madonna instead?
They didn't offer enough. They wanted to go in a different direction. I offered to give them a little soulful, you know, a little Al Green, a little Marvin Gaye. They wanted to get something more up-tempo. I didn't feel comfortable.
So they went with Madonna instead of you. You lost out to Madonna,
Yeah,
huh?
well, you know, I wasn't going to have any type of wardrobe malfunction.
There you go. Well, let's hope not. Yeah. Anyway, Ronnie, talking about guys going to the draft, I mean, it's not unique to LSU. Players from all over the country, the top players do it. It's something that has to happen a lot of times for family reasons. Speaking of that, how about your boy Dre Kirkpatrick, the defensive back from Alabama, busted for marijuana down in Florida? I mean,
shocking.
That's really putting your thinking cap on Kirkpatrick.
Didn't think he did that.
Yeah, well, but anyway, it's not unique to LSU. Players from different schools around this country have done it. Even though there's not as much money on the table now with the new collective bargaining agreement with the NFL, everything's a little slotted and a little more controlled. They don't want people like Sam Bradford and whatnot and Matthew Stafford getting all this money and they've never taken a snap in the league yet, whether they pan out or not. But again, people should not be surprised when, you know, these student athletes, you heard Michael Brockers talk about a family decision. What he means there is money. He's able to go make more money in April than he may have made in a couple of years or longer than that anywhere else. And sometimes you got to do what you got to do for players all over this country. It's just part of it.
Yeah, you know, everybody, when they say family reasons, it can be anything. It can be, you know, mama lost her job, family's about to lose the house, you got a girlfriend pregnant and you got to deal with those issues. It could be any of those types of things. And the bottom line is, that $10,000 or whatever, which is, I think there's a cap in the summertime as to how much money you can make. And I'm not up to date. I'm not Bo Bonson. I don't know what the latest number is, but I want to say it used to be like $10,000 is what you can make in the summertime. And so the bottom line is that, that's not going to really answer anybody's financial trouble. So, yeah, you'll see guys maybe leave a little early. It's kind of a shame because, if a guy like a Brocker stays, and granted, if he's healthy, and that's a big risk, if he's healthy, he's pretty much a lock that he was going to improve his draft stock. And being drafted in the middle of the first round or even the late first round is a lot more money than being drafted in the middle or late second round.
Yeah. So, I mean, again, these players, they have to make these decisions. It doesn't work out for all of them. By no means is it a guarantee, and by no means is it a sure thing. But they're all going to get some signing money, and whoever their agent is going to front them some money to get them through the times before they start getting those weekly paychecks in the NFL, if, in fact, they end up sticking somewhere. Keep in mind, NFL contracts for most players are not guaranteed at all. Some of the big-time stars, there's a percentage of the contract that is guaranteed, and that's kind of new in the NFL. But for the new guys, it's hit or miss. It's time to go to work and really make football your job.
Well, the thing about Brockers that makes him so special is he came to LSU as a defensive end. He moved to a tackle position, and that he's, obviously he's probably even still going to get a little bigger and stronger as he gets into the NFL, but he's got speed, and that's when when you're a fast guy moves down to a big guy, you're always going to be the faster of the big guys, and that's the benefit that he has, is that he's got that quickness and that speed of a defensive end, but yet he plays an interior position, and and that's worth a lot of money at the next level.
Well, and it looks like he's had a few Papa John's pizzas since he got to Baton Rouge as well, because he has filled out. And if you could find a picture of him when he was a true freshman, I remember seeing him and noting how tall he was. And whoa. Hey,
yeah,
Chaz
little technical difficulties.
Yeah, a little technical difficulties, but that's all right. We got B-roll rolling.
Let me say this about Brockers while we get things tightened up around here. The Brockers young man, he is a guy who I think he really had a tough decision to make. I don't think it was something that was really, really simple for him to do. And I think he probably got a lot of advice, a lot of discussion. I know he had some personal issues he needed to take care of, and that's why he decided to go to the NFL. But I think Brockers is a guy who is a lock, in my opinion, to be a great player at the next level. He's a quality young man. He's a good character guy on and off the field. He's going to put in the time, the due diligence, and the work to be a great player. And I just think whoever takes him, that's going to be a great value.
And Mo Claiborne, obviously, as Coach Miles said, and, if you look at some of the mock draft boards that are already circulating all over the place, he's going to be certainly in the top 10 players taken, and he could go 4th, 5th, or 6th. I've seen him as high as 4th on some of the draft boards. I mean, he's a big guy who can cover, corner, ran that kickoff back against West Virginia, so some teams may factor him into the return game, but Mo Claiborne will be in the NFL for a while.
And another quality character guy, too. You're not going to have to worry about Mo Claiborne off the field or his work ethic or anything. On a day where Pac-Man Jones was in a courtroom for another misdemeanor or felony, or he's always got another cornerback who's always in trouble. You got a guy like Mo Claiborne who you'll never have to worry about.
Well, and Pac-Man Jones or Drake Kirkpatrick now in trouble.
Yeah,
that's not going to happen with Mo Claiborne. Ruben Randall, as you said, Ronnie, he did lead LSU with 8 touchdown receptions, and you don't really know what's going to happen in the fall, but you would think with Mettenberger and throwing the ball a whole lot more, he could have had a chance to raise his stock. But he's a big guy. The NFL likes big receivers, and he kind of fits the statistical data mold. But he was never super productive. I mean, when he first signed with LSU, they thought, man, this guy could be All-American. Didn't even make All-Conference.
Well, Ruben Randall was the #1 wide receiver out of high school. I mean, he was the Collins, who's the #1 in the nation at safety from Dutchtown. Well, he was that guy at wide receiver. Remember, it came down to the very end. He picked LSU. Everybody was excited. I don't think it's his fault that he just didn't really have good quarterback play. and he was the offensive MVP. He was given that award at the LSU football banquet, and that was voted on by his teammates. And what woulda, coulda, shoulda, because I'm not going to give him all the blame, although I know his work ethic wasn't necessarily the best, and he served that quarter-and-a-half suspension to start the season against Oregon. They didn't like his effort, I think, in practice. He kind of had a lot of illnesses and things that kind of kept him out of some things in August. But if Rueben Randle would have come back for a senior year, I think you would have seen that all-conference receiver. Unfortunately, Tiger fans aren't going to see it. But combine-wise, he's an interesting guy. He's going to run a good time. He's great size. He's got pretty good hands. And so even though he didn't have the production because LSU didn't have the great passing game, I think at the NFL level, he's going to be valued pretty high.
And then, of course, right after the LSU-Alabama game, Russell Shepard had tweeted out that he was going to, thank you, LSU, I'm off to the NFL, and caused everybody to chuckle a little bit. Ronnie, I looked it up. In 14 football games, Russell Shepard touched the ball 24 times, and that includes rushing, receiving, and a couple of kickoff returns that he was involved in. So he touched the ball less than 2 times a game in 14 games, and finally somebody must have got to him or talked to him and said, the NFL's not going to want you, so he is going to come back to LSU, and hopefully the coaching staff can find a way to get him to contribute. We talk about what's going to happen with Gunnar Kiel. Is he going to be great? Is he going to be a bust? Is he going to be middle of the road? Russell Shepard came in here as a top quarterback in the nation. We haven't seen him throw a single pass at LSU because he got in and couldn't throw the football. And he had trouble catching the football, trouble remembering the plays. I mean, he made a wise decision to come back because it's always, can you improve the stock? Well, he can't. I mean, he has no stock, so all he can do is gain some.
Yeah, well, of those 14 games, he was suspended, 3-4 of them?
Yeah.
So he did have 4 touchdowns with those 24 touches, and he's just an interesting guy. And I'm glad he's coming back for a senior year because I'm holding out hope that Russell Shepard's going to be able to find a home and find a system that works. Look, he's a spectacular athlete. He's a dynamic football player. Think back to the beginning of 2010, particularly that North Carolina game on the turf in the Georgia Dome and what he did the first 2-3 weeks of the season. We thought this is going to be Russell Shepard's year. They couldn't figure out a way to really get him the ball and incorporate him in the offense. All right, Billy Gonzalez is here. Things are going to work out. 2011, suspension at the beginning of the year. Never really got going, but he did have the 4 touches, and he's a dynamic player. So hopefully 2012, they could get Russell Shepard in some space and get him the football. It would be such a waste if this young man doesn't have at least one good season because he can score anywhere on the field.
Ronnie, can't let you get out of here without talking a little LSU baseball. Full-blown practice doesn't start till Friday the 26th. They open the season on Friday, February 17th against the Air Force Academy. Alcorn State will also be in town that weekend. Just some group 3-player, 4-player stuff working out with the coaches now. I know Paul Mainieri and Javi Sanchez, Will Davis, their staff, they're ready to get going. They want to get last year and put that behind them. Didn't end like they wanted. No postseason. They filled out some more suites at Alex Box Stadium, more people in the park, and I know this baseball team is going to be raring to go.
Yeah, the big time. And one of the guys who's really excited is the new pitching coach, Alan Dunn. And Alan Dunn has been in the pro baseball ranks for the last, about 20 years. Alan Dunn actually was an assistant at Vanderbilt in 91 and 92, and I actually pitched against Vanderbilt in the SEC Championship. He remembered that game, and we had a nice chuckle about it. But in the last 20 years, he's been in the pro game. Well, even in the big leagues, which Alan Dunn spent a year with the Baltimore Orioles as their bullpen coach, he, he's not going to have that excitement and that feel and that energy like at Alex Box Stadium. And so he's excited about the 2012 season. He's the new pitching coach. And I've talked to some of the pitchers. They love this guy. He's bringing them a lot of knowledge, a lot of insight. They have a ton of confidence in him and belief in what he's teaching them is the right way. They've got a great staff. And look for Alan Dunn to have a big impact on this year's team because I think Paul Mainieri is going to lean on Alan Dunn a lot more than what he did on David Gruey and Terry Rooney relative to when should we get people up in the bullpen, when we should make pitching changes, who should come in. Those are things that kind of, for the most part, Paul Mainieri did independently. I think you're going to see him take a lot of weight and stock in what Alan Dunn says, and that can be nothing but a good thing.
And, of course, Dunn will call the pitches.
Well, yes and no. You're going to see a totally different deal. You're going to see more pitches called by by the catcher than you will the pitcher. But keep in mind, Alan Dunn has not been calling pitches for the last 20 years. He comes from that pro baseball mentality where you coach up the catcher, you do a scouting report. Obviously, you call a pitch here or there, you call a pitch out here or there, but you really turn the game over to Ross. Ross is a sophomore catcher. He's had to learn a lot. He's had a very good fall. But I'm one who's really going to be watching that closely. I'd rather have my coach at the college level with all the information, the knowledge, the charts, the smarts, the history, the experience. I'd rather have my coach calling the pitches than a 19, 20-year-old sophomore catcher who's worried about his last at-bat. But LSU's going to go in a different direction, and that's going to be something that we're going to talk about a lot this spring.
It's going to get discussed because I, for one, especially at the collegiate level, believe that, if you have a coach calling the pitches, that's the 11th guy in the lineup. You got the DH being the 10th guy. That's 11 guys in the lineup dealing with every pitch of every game, and a guy who's not a 18 to 22-year-old student athlete. You got somebody with the experience of Alan Dunn or whatever coach it is calling the pitches. Many head coaches around the league, around the country do call pitches. So I've always believed if you can put 11 guys in the lineup, why don't you go ahead and do it? I know you coach a lot of summer baseball in high school. It's probably 99% of the time somebody in the dugout is calling the pitch. I know you do it in the summertime. So that's going to be an interesting topic that I'm going to follow closely. Sure. I know you are. And I mean, us being, allegedly having baseball minds, I mean, we're going to be following that. And that's something that I think LSU baseball fans who are so very intelligent, they're going to be on top of that as well.
It's going to be hard for LSU baseball fans to get used to the coaches not calling every pitch from the dugout, because you're talking about, nearly 20 years of Skip Bertman, the best in the business, calling every single pitch. And then, since then, under Smoke Laval and Paul Mainieri, their pitching coaches called the pitches. So this is really going to be – this is something that Paul Mainieri and his staff are going to really open themselves to a lot of scrutiny if things don't go LSU's way this spring on the mound. But let's face it, most of the time it doesn't really matter. The pitch calling, for the most part, doesn't matter. But in those crucial situations against those crucial hitters, that's when the pitch calling is going to come into question. And you wonder then if all of a sudden the catcher's going to turn to the dugout and get a signal from the pitching coach.
Well, and especially in that 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th inning, and that's when in an SEC play on the weekend, once that rolls around, it'll become very, very important, and we'll certainly keep an eye on that. Note for you on a former LSU baseball Tiger, Mikey Matuk had a very good Arizona Fall League. He was 12th in the league in hitting, ended with a 9-game hitting streak. 6 of those games he had multiple hits, and he really showed the Tampa Bay Rays, they were very pleased with his performance in the Arizona Fall League. He will get an invite to spring training. I mean, LSU fans and people in South Louisiana, because he's a native of Lafayette, they know he can play baseball, but I think Tampa had a little concern about strikeouts, number one, and then how he would adjust to the wooden bat, which we've seen. Eddie Furniss, one of the greatest college hitters ever, couldn't hit with a wooden bat. But I think the success that Mikey had in the Arizona Fall League is going to give him some confidence, and I don't know if he'll, go north and break camp with Tampa, but he certainly, if he continues to improve, he'll be in the big leagues before long.
Mikey Matuk, barring a career-ending injury, will be a major leaguer, partly because as a first-round pick, they're going to give you that call-up opportunity anyway. But this guy just has all the skills. He has the mentality. He has the work ethic. He's about as can't miss can get.
Well, and of course, all our folks in Lafayette saw him play baseball and football. He's a very good quarterback. Why didn't he play quarterback at LSU?
Yeah.
Very, very good quarterback at St. Thomas More High School over there in Lafayette.
Turned down a scholarship from the University of Houston, of course, who just went 13-1 this past year. He could have been playing. And ULL, who just went bowling. So he turned down scholarships by both to play quarterback to go play baseball at LSU.
ULL, the only Louisiana team to win a bowl game this year.
There you go. How about that?
Because Tech got beat, LSU got beat. Right. Mark Hudspeth's Raging Cajuns got the victory in the New Orleans Bowl.
They took all the good mojo out of the dome. Didn't leave LSU anything.
Nobody left LSU much of anything. All right, Ronnie, before we let you get out of here, tell Michael Cauble and the rest of the South Louisiana about Sports Shorts TV and Sports Shorts Radio.
Sports Shorts TV, Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9. It's on Pelican Broadcasting right here. And also tell you folks, if they down in Ascension Parish. They can check us out on ETEL Channel 4 during the week as well. And it's a 1-hour sports talk show, first half hour, a bunch of fast-moving topics. Myself, Chad Bluen, hosting the show. And in the second half hour, we have special guests, everybody from Skip Bertman to Ricky Blanton to you name it, to Dale Brown in the house visiting with us. So that's Mondays at 8, Tuesdays at 9. And, of course, if you don't have a TV and you got to listen on the radio, Sports Shorts Radio, Saturdays from 10 to noon on 104.5 FM ESPN Radio in Baton Rouge.
Ronnie, as always, we appreciate it. We look forward to some jumbo sports television, a little LSU baseball. Your schedule's not final yet, so we won't get into that, but we'll certainly pass that along when that becomes final. Appreciate you first hour here on Tigers Roar. Go get you some Papa John's.
Who's taking over the seat next time?
Carter Bryant's up next hour, but you can go get some Papa John's pizza and some more king cake.
You're going to have to get a couple telephone books for him to sit on.
Oh, yeah, no, Carter will be good. Okay. He's our guy that does all the specials around here. We want to let people get a little more of Carter.
Is he going to go headband or no headband?
I don't know. He's a fashion expert.
Stick around and see if he goes headband or
He'll be in GQ magazine before long. He's the guy. We got a whole nother hour of Tigers Roar for you, including a visit with Brian Lazar of TigerBait.com, update you on LSU recruiting. We'll let you again hear from Les Miles and Mo Claiborne and Michael Brockers in hour number 2 for those of you that didn't catch it in hour number 1. We'll take our weekly run through the LSU athletic department and have a whole lot of stuff and get Carter Bryant's perspective. As we head to break, a special treat for you musically with a member of the Louisiana Music Hall of Fame, Debbie Traylor. Enjoy.
It's amazing.